comatose lobotomy patient could feel my anger!
Okay, I'm officially scared.
Darth Baras was one of the younger Sith Lords who rose to power during and after the Great Galactic War. In his time, he managed to manipulate the Dark Council into believing he was the voice of the Emperor, when in fact, he had trapped the Emperor on Voss so he could usurp the Empire from within. Let's dive in.
Don't mock me, fop! Your patron just ensured your suffering will be epic, youngster!
Baras was a human male born roughly in the year of 3697 BBY, making him about 3 years younger than Darth Malgus and about 16 years old by the time the Sith Empire retakes Korriban.
Welcome home.
In his childhood, he was recognized as Force-sensitive, and by Imperial law, he was sent to be trained by the Sith Lords on Dromund Kars. Baras also had a sister by the name of Ekij, who was also sent to train as she was a powerful individual, even more powerful than Baras. Eventually, Baras was taken under the wing of Darth Vengean, an infamous Sith Lord who was held in high esteem by many members of the Empire already. The position as his apprentice would have been an honor to Baras. Over the next 30 years of war with the Jedi, Baras was able to climb the political ladder of the Empire's hierarchy. He preferred to employ spies and sabotage the enemy through misdirection and subterfuge. But he did not just use his skills to assault the Republic. He also conspired against his enemies and rivals from within the Sith Empire, seeking to undermine them and manipulate them, without them ever knowing Baras was involved. One notable rival is Darth Angral, a Sith Lord that conflicted with many of Baras's ideals and methods. They often feuded with one another. We don't know exactly when Baras became a Darth of the Sith, but we can only assume it was during the war after he proved himself as a worthy Sith Lord. During the Great Galactic War, Darth Baras established a significant spy network. He had spies planted in the Republic's domain throughout the entire galaxy, solidifying himself as the Spy Master for the Empire, Master of Whispers across the galaxy. His sister, Darth Ekij, had helped him achieve this. However, she was captured by the Jedi and sent to an unknown prison. While further building his spy network, he came across a like-minded Sith Lord by the name of Lord Retrost. After earning Baras's trust, the Sith Lord would betray him and send information to the Republic on his dealings. As it would turn out, this Sith Lord was actually a Republic spy and also a Jedi, whose true name was Norman Carr. This betrayal enraged Darth Baras, so he confronts the Jedi on the world of Hutta, where they both duel for a long time. Eventually, no victor is decided and both combatants escape. Baras had vowed to never let this happen again, strengthening his grip across his network and assuring his master, Darth Vengean, was confident in Baras's continued ability to work as a spy master for the Empire. The Jedi Norman Carr seemingly vanished and could not be found, so Baras diverts his attention back to his own ambitions. As the war came to an end, it was Baras that was responsible for overseeing the signing of the peace treaty on Alderaan. During the peace conference, Baras revealed to the Jedi delegates that they had just captured Coruscant, and this was proven when a holo communication came through from the Chancellor, who seemingly had Sith Lord visitors. Satele Shan, who was present at the meeting, ignites her saber and attacks Lord Baras over this betrayal. However, the Dark Lord reminds them all that the purpose of this meeting is peace and not conflict, so they should stand down. The Grand Master of the Jedi Order, Master Darnala, was also present. She ordered Satele to stand down so the talks may be completed. Baras walks away from this meeting successful in claiming victory through the treaty. This achievement brought Baras much prestige and even prompted the Dark Council to offer him more power, perhaps even a seat. However, Baras declined this offer as his long-term plans did not require his ascension to Dark Council just yet. His ambitions were aimed higher. Baras's long-term rival, Darth Angral, confronts the Sith Lord and claims that had he held the peace negotiations out even longer, then he would have had enough time to kill every Jedi on the planet Coruscant. Angral was displeased that he could not achieve this goal and asserted that he would not hesitate the next time. Baras verified his words by saying the need to hesitate will not be necessary the next time. The feud between these rivals would escalate when Baras begins to suspect that Darth Angral intends to break the peace treaty quietly, so he can return to war. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. Darth Angral learns of this false lie and lashes out against Baras with an assassin that is able to find him and stab him in the back. But Baras is able to survive this encounter and alerts the Dark Council to Angral's suspicious behaviour. The truth was that actually, Baras himself was the one causing chaos that could risk the peace treaty. He was just smart enough to blame someone else that suits the agenda. Darth Angral figures this out and confronts Darth Baras about his illicit behaviour. But the conversation would see the two rivals finally coming to terms with one another. Baras had attempted to convince Angral to join him, be part of his plans. No formal partnership was made, but they did seek to benefit from each other. At this point in time, Darth Baras ventures to the world of Dantooine in search of a crystal cave. Accompanying him is none other than Darth Angral himself. While in the cave, the Sith Lords were attacked by the Jedi, including the likes of Grandmaster Darnala, even Satele Shan. Darth Baras successfully discerned that Satele is the descendant of Darth Revan, and he wanted to have such a powerful individual working for the Sith, so he attempts to corrupt her by revealing her former masters in. Baras exposes the Jedi Grand Master for attacking the Sith in quiet strikes, wanting to cause the peace treaty to break. Darth Baras pushed Darnala so much with his words that she falls to the dark side before her peers' very eyes. She was then killed by the Wookiee. After failing to corrupt Satele Shan, Baras allows her and her friends to leave. It might have been a smarter decision to kill them now, but he lets them leave nonetheless. In the aftermath of the peace treaty, the galaxy entered what we know as the Cold War, which was silent assaults against one another while tiptoeing around the peace treaty to prevent the galaxy from breaking out in war again. There was also still many worlds that rejected imperial control and assembled a resistance. Over his years, Baras's facade changed and morphed as the dark side took hold of his appearance. In time, he would choose to wear a mask that represents his position as Master of Whispers across the galaxy. The mask itself was calm and content visually, but this was an intentional design. Those who look upon him will see something calm and perhaps friendly, not knowing the Sith underneath is ready to channel an infinite amount of rage. Within the next few years, Baras decides to take on another apprentice in the form of a successful acolyte on Korriban. He already had 2 apprentices, however one of them was planted within Lord Graffin's estate on Dromund Kaas as a spy. This apprentice was named Drykill Baal, probably the weakest apprentice to Baras, but still quite useful. And the other is Lord Drag. Baras had actually taken on Lord Drag for the sole purpose of spying on his master, Darth Vengeance. Baras believed Vengeance kept secrets, so he suggested that he take Drag as apprentice, when in fact he will remain loyal to Baras. He successfully plants Drag as Vengeance's new apprentice, when in reality he would be sending information back to his true master, Darth Baras. Lord Drag was actually quite powerful and was told to hold back his power so those around him did not suspect his position. While on the world of Korriban, Baras is reminded of an old rival named Overseer Tremel. This Overseer was training a new acolyte who had arrived, but Tremel's intentions was to raise this acolyte to power so they may take the position of Baras's apprentice. After being sent on some trials, this acolyte returns victorious and earns a place to compete for Baras's apprenticeship. When Baras meets the acolyte, it becomes clear that their training is not up to standards. The acolyte did not even know the Sith code yet.
The first month of trials should be dedicated to philosophy, conceptual tactics, understanding of the Sith code.
Recite the Sith Code for me, Acolyte, and explain its meaning in battle, war, and politics.
I don't recall learning a Sith Code, my lord.
Your ability is undeniable, but your readiness and your understanding of the Sith way is woefully lacking.
Because of this, Baras accuses Overseer Tremel of sullying the traditions of Sith training within the Academy. Therefore, he sends the Acolyte back to the Overseer to kill them. When they are successful, they return and are allowed to compete in the trials. When these trials are completed, it became evident that the Acolyte in question is a prodigal Sith warrior, one who needs to be trained and could be very useful to Baras. The Acolyte had proved themselves by retrieving Tulak Horde's writings and even claiming an ancient lightsaber from within Naga Sedau's tomb. The group of Acolytes that Baras came to evaluate had whittled down to just one, the Sith warrior. Baras claims them as his new apprentice and new tool to see his ambitions through. Darth Baras instructs the Acolyte to meet him on the Sith capital of Dromund Kars within the Citadel. There he would be given instruction for the Acolyte to go and retrieve a Republic agent who Baras had a vision about. This agent was seemingly investigating part of Baras's spy network, so he had the agent captured and frozen in carbonite so he may interrogate them.
I cannot break him!
However, the mind of the agent was protected by the Force, so Baras had the idea of using a dark side device known as the Ravager, a device that was created by the Sith Emperor, capable of dragging out any person's secrets and lies, while turning their brain to liquid. The device was locked away by the Emperor within the Dark Temple, but Baras's new apprentice succeeds in retrieving it. He was surprised to see his new apprentice still alive. The mission to retrieve the Ravager was essentially suicide, but he sees now that the Sith warrior is truly capable. His apprentice had even met his rival apprentice within Lord Graffin's estate. The Sith warrior proved to be the better of the two after a fight to the death, leaving Baras with just 2 apprentices left now, the same as what he started with. Darth Baras went on to gift his latest apprentice a Fury-class starship, which they would be using to see out his missions. His old nemesis, Nerman Kar, was back within the galaxy causing trouble for Baras. Using the Ravager on the agent had revealed to Baras that his spy network was in danger of being exposed by Nerman Kar, and that he had a Padawan capable of reading people's true intentions like an empath. The Jedi are using this ability to discover who Baras's spies are across the galaxy, putting his ever-essential network at risk. Baras knew it was too risky to withdraw his spies that were vulnerable, so he instead opted to execute them using his apprentice. They would do so quietly and without making any connections to Baras. The 2 targets that needed to be dealt with were on the worlds of Nar Shaddaa and Balmorra. After the matters were dealt with, Baras informed his apprentice that Nerman Kar had a space station that was tracking the Sith warriors' movements and dealings. They were being spied on, so the apprentice visits the station and kills everyone on board. The apprentice also speaks with the Jedi Nerman Kar, where they threaten them and warn them about being more in the know than they might think, such as they know about his new Padawan. This puts Nerman Kar into protection mode for his Padawan, who is named Jace Wilson. After this, Darth Baras declares that the Padawan must die in order to protect his spy network from being exposed any further, so he once again sends his apprentice to hunt down and lure them out. They did so by attacking the Padawan's loved ones. Firstly, the apprentice visits her former master, a Jedi named Yonlak, who was on Tatooine. Turns out the Padawan used to be a servant of a noble house before she was recruited into the Jedi, so the apprentice seeks out her parents and kills them. This act draws the Padawan out of hiding, and eventually Nerman Kar becomes frustrated by the exploits of Baras's new apprentice. In an act of desperation and rage, the Jedi reaches out to Darth Baras, offering him a final confrontation on the world of Hutta, where they last met. However, Baras had grown bored of this feud with Nerman Kar, so rather than accepting the challenge, he sends his apprentice instead, who finds him and kills him. but not before being able to corrupt the Padawan Jacer, who becomes the apprentice of the apprentice. Darth Baras was incredibly proud that his apprentice had not only killed Nomen Karr, but had also recruited his Padawan, a task that is usually difficult for even Sith Masters. Baras rewards his apprentice by naming them a Lord of the Sith. With his spy network safe from exposure and his power base stronger than ever, Baras and his master, Darth Vengeance, decide it is time to begin Plan Zero. This plan was essentially a hit list of high-value targets that block the Empire from conquering new territories. Baras and Vengeance had secretly plotted for years to eventually break the Treaty of Coruscant and reignite the war. Plan Zero was the precursor for this. Firstly, Darth Baras sends his apprentice to kill a war trust on the world of Taris. This would stop the Republic from fending off attacks on the fringe worlds, meaning the Empire could make progress once again. After this was completed, Darth Baras sends his apprentice to aid his master Darth Vengeance, who is currently at battle within the orbit of Quesh. Unknown to the apprentice, Baras was actually the person who set up the battle and caused the need for help. The Republic ship that attacked Vengeance was under the control of one of Baras's spies. His plan was to make it look like Darth Vengeance alone was responsible for breaking the Treaty of Coruscant. This way, Baras can't be blamed by the Dark Council, and it would also destroy Vengeance's reputation. The battle over Quesh had successfully broken the Treaty of Coruscant and reignited the war. With war breaking out, Baras sends his apprentice after the final target for Plan Zero, a Jedi named Zerenda on the world of Hoth. As it would turn out, an old Jedi Master who Baras had fought before was still alive on Hoth. This Jedi's name was Master Wilet. He had actually stolen Baras's lightsaber from his youth after failing to redeem the Sith Lord. The apprentice hunts down Zerenda and even finds Master Wilet, murdering both of them. The apprentice even returns Baras's old weapon to its rightful owner. Baras was most pleased about this. With Plan Zero now fully complete, Baras moves to the next part of his grand plan. Now that the Dark Council looked upon Darth Vengeance unfavourably, an attack on his power base would be met with support. But rather than face his master himself, he instead opted to send his apprentice, because if they succeeded, the Dark Council would shudder in speculation of how powerful Baras must be if his apprentice was capable of killing Vengeance. Before Baras could strike, however, Vengeance had discovered that Lord Drag was actually working for Baras, so it was the duty of the Sith warrior to free Drag and work together with him to kill Darth Vengeance. The task was completed successfully, securing Darth Baras's rise to the Dark Council, replacing his old master as head of military offense for the Empire. Given the fact his apprentice, the Sith warrior, had become so powerful, Darth Baras knew one day he could surpass him, so he sends Lord Drag to ambush and kill his apprentice, so that only those truly loyal without ambition work underneath him. With the Sith warrior seemingly out of the way, Baras was now ready to reveal his intentions to the Sith Empire. Decades ago, he had ventured to the world of Voss and discovered an ancient entity known as Selma Kor. This entity wanted to feed on power, so Baras made a deal. He lured the Sith Emperor to the entity's sanctuary, so Selma Kor could trap him there using its immense power. The plan actually worked. The Emperor took the bait to investigate this entity and found himself trapped inside a vault with no way to escape alone. With the Emperor finally out of the picture, his silence became noticed by the Empire. Baras used this silence as an opportunity to declare himself the new voice of the Emperor, which was usually a role reserved for those who had been possessed with a sliver of the Emperor's conscience. Without the Emperor present to state otherwise, it became all too easy for Baras to convince the Dark Council that he was indeed the new voice, and to be recognized as such. Many on the Dark Council supported his claims. Some of them actually believed him. Others just saw an opportunity to benefit from his ascension. Darth Vowron, another Dark Council member, was the only Sith to openly reject Darth Baras' claims. Because of this, Baras undermines Vowron by reallocating his fleet to another world that would not benefit him. While the power struggle begins, for Baras to ascend to what would essentially be leader of the Empire, the Sith warrior who Baras fought dead was actually still alive and now working against him. His former apprentice had thwarted the attempt to rescue his sister, Darth Ekage, who was discovered to be held in the prison on Belsavis. The Sith warrior finds and kills Darth Ekage before she is rescued. Lord Drag was able to discern this and confronted the Sith warrior, only to lose in combat and be burned alive. The Sith warrior would eventually seek support from Darth Vowron, who helps them to undermine Baras by bringing the fleet back to Vowron's control. The Sith warrior was claiming themselves to be the new Wrath of the Emperor, a prestigious position given only to those who are incredibly powerful. They would see through the Emperor's divine wrath upon his enemies, and right now, that enemy is Baras for his betrayal. The Sith warrior had actually freed the Sith Emperor from his incarceration on Voss. The Emperor himself gave the Sith warrior his blessing to seek and destroy the pretender, Darth Baras. With his long-term plan and power base at risk, Darth Baras summons the Dark Council to officially recognize him as the Emperor's voice in a session on Korriban.
Had it better be Darth Vowron coming through those doors?
Today, your reign ends.
Interesting.
However, Vowron had helped the Sith warrior join and attend the meeting, calling Baras out in front of the entire Dark Council. Ultimately, he would not win. As he is defeated in combat by the Sith warrior, the Force abandons him. Some speculate that this was the Sith Emperor reaching across the galaxy, punishing Baras for his treason. The warrior proceeds to kill Baras, ending his rise to power and exposing his treachery to everyone in the Empire. Darth Baras had to be one of the most ambitious Sith Lords to ever exist. He conspired against the Emperor himself and partially succeeded. This is not something to take lightly. Perhaps Baras was the smartest, most devious Sith of them all. Tell me, did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Baras, the Wide?